And we made this video. It's like, hi, I'm Saunders. Hi, I'm Ollie. Together, we're going to do this trip. And this is why you should get us to do it with your company. Like, it was so cringe. Like, if I watch it back now, I'd be cringing all over the place.
I want to talk about your YouTube channel now because I really enjoy watching your YouTube videos. And of course, travel is a mutual love of mine. So I wanted to ask, as someone who comes from a YouTubing background, what made you choose travel to be the focus of your channel?
It's a weird one because it didn't really ever come about as me wanting to have a travel channel. It always, the travel channel sort of found its way. The travel found its way onto the channel as opposed to the other way around. The whole thing started, there's two parts of the story, okay? The YouTube side of it is that obviously, I say obviously, not obviously, but I come from quite somewhat of a YouTube family in the sense that both my brothers have YouTube channels. Spencer has had a channel for the longest, and he kind of like set the precedent, the tone for the rest of the family. And as a result, what he's created has become quite a big part of the whole family's life. In terms of the football team, things like that. So there was that influence to start there. And the only thing I had going on at the time was what I was doing for a job, which was as a producer, as someone making content behind the scenes. You know, I was shooting and editing things. And it just so happened to be that at the time that was heavily involved within sport, which had quite a heavy degree of traveling. So that would be like, I don't know, 1 month I might be going with a Chelsea fans channel to Israel to cover them playing Maccabi Tel Aviv. And then the next year I'd be going with a Man United fan channel to cover their preseason tour in America. So it was a lot of travel. And the more I did it, I thought, I want to personally have a way to remember this. It had nothing to do with views or subscribers or any sort of like following. I just wanted to have a place that I could document it. And I liked the idea of it being online.
Yeah.
And because of what my brother was doing, I thought, okay, this seems like a great place to do it. So I started doing it purely for myself. And it very quickly turned into being about the travel and less about the job.
Yeah.
And then I realized like I could then align that with my other interests and passions, which I've always loved travel. I think I can't remember a time where I wasn't bewildered by the idea of going to somewhere new. And I think I owe that a lot to my grandparents because they did so much traveling, like both in the military and out of the military. But they've done like 6 world cruises.
Oh wow!
And back in those days when they first did it, it wasn't like cruises now. It would be you'd go to a destination, you'd get off the boat, and then you'd do a load of stuff on land for like 10 days, and then get back on the boat. It wasn't like here on and off for 2 hours, next destination. It was way more involved. And the stories of travel back then, absolutely mind-blowing. Like hearing some of the stuff that they did, like even big organizations that run these cruise trips, some of the stuff they were doing was like that would be illegal now, like to do on a holiday. Like the idea of like being put in a little canoe in the Amazon and allowing these little kids to come up to the boat with live crocodiles and being like, take a picture, and just throwing the crocodiles on the guests to have photos, like snakes, crocodiles, anaconda, like everything. It's like you'd never get away with it now, or you'd never see it now because of the health and safety. But it's like it's almost like true travel, isn't it? You're really getting an idea of another culture and another thing. It takes you so far out of your comfort zone that I honestly, I don't feel like you can really enjoy anything to the utmost degree without being out of your comfort zone. So yeah, I've divulged a bit, but yeah, that played a big part. But the other side was in terms of the video making and the YouTube is fresh out of university. I'd been doing some work within the video production world, and I wanted to kind of do some travels. Like before I get too stuck into this, little did I know what my career would actually become in the future. But I want to get some travel done. I want to kind of see more of the world and get myself out of my comfort zone. And a friend of mine at university called Ollie, he had exactly the same thoughts. He didn't want to get into a career before having done this stuff. So we started thinking about it, and I was like, there must be an opportunity to combine the sort of work that I'd learned at university, what I'd been doing as a job while studying, and travel. There must be value there. That's something that like my skill set that I've built up could offer to a travel company. So we came up with this pitch, which was so pie in the sky, so like it's a dream, probably never likely to happen thing, which was we wanted to go do the Southeast Asia route, the kind of Indochina, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, etc. But we thought, I want to make videos while we're doing it, like little small travel videos here and there, just to kind of cover the journey that would start before we went, about all the process of getting visas, getting vaccinated, all that stuff. And then eventually kind of going throughout the trip and live blogging it as it was kind of talked about in those days. And we're talking about like 20, 2013, 2014 now. So the YouTube vlogging scene hadn't properly taken off at that point. It was getting there, but not within the way that it is now. So we made this pitch, which was a video of us. We were both working at ASOS at the time, doing some temp work here. And we used one of the fashion studios with the plain white background. And we made this video. It was like, hi, I'm Saunders. Hi, I'm Ollie. Together, we're going to do this trip. And this is why you should get us to do it with your company. Like, it was so cringe. Like, if I watch it back now, I'd be cringing all over the place. But it was essentially saying, we're going to do this trip, whether anyone's involved or not. But this is what we're going to do. Surely there's some value with this wealth of content and assigning that to a travel brand. So we made this pitch, put it out to about 15 different travel companies, about 12 of which never even replied to us. 3 did, 2 actually followed up. And it then came into where one company that was taking it seriously, which was Gap Year, the travel company. And they said, yeah, sure, we'll do it. I don't think I've told this side of the story before, is that we went into it being like, we just want to make the content. And if they can help facilitate the travel, then, we're quids in, we're saving money traveling. We went to the meeting in their offices and had to kind of like pitch as like 21-year-olds who have no idea of pitching. And we did the pitch. And then they were like, yeah, okay, we like the idea of it. This is a sort of a number of videos we'd like you to make. Yeah, that works, blah, blah, blah. And this is the sort of amount that we'll pay you to do it. And we were in the room being like, what? Pay us? Like, we didn't expect to be paid. We thought we were just doing it for the, you helping us like pay for our flights or whatever. Like, we didn't think about it. And it suddenly turned into this thing where Ollie and I were being paid to do the trip that we wanted to do, make the videos that we were going to make anyway for 3 months.
That's incredible.
And we came back better off than when we left.
I commend you. And
like, it honestly, it gave me this whole massive like eureka moment. And I was like, this is what it's about. Like, it wasn't a free ride by any means. Like, there was a lot of like editing on 12-hour overnight coach journeys and stuff, like a lot of hard graft while we were doing it. But it made me really appreciate the video world and the value that it offers to companies and the value that it can offer as like storytelling. Because if you think about it, for that company to do that, to pay for someone to do that, it would cost them tens of thousands, if not more.
Yeah, very true.
What they paid us was pennies. It was probably barely touching what people would spend on a Twitter advert now, Yeah. But for us, it was amazing. But I think having that and having done that quite strenuous 3 months of travel and vlogging, it made me think like, okay, I've got all of the skills now and all of the understanding and the graft to be able to do this for my own channel. So when I started doing it for myself, within the work stuff, it was relatively easy because what I'd done before was so much harder.
Absolutely. So to keep talking about that trip, because it sounds absolutely incredible, I wondered if you could first tell us all the countries that you went to. And also, it sounds like you went right in at the deep end in terms of video production. Some of the skills you would have learned on that trip would have taken years to acquire in any sort of regular industry. What did you learn from working in that kind of environment?
I mean, fortunately, I was lucky because I started working within video production at like 16. A lot of people don't get the chance to kind of do anything on a corporate level until they've done some sort of qualification or they've done like an internship or something. But I met a guy at a festival who was he did music videos essentially, and he kind of took me under his wing. And by 16, I was like second cameraing on like for proper music videos. Wow. And I was getting thrown in at the deep end massively and having to sort of like, fake it till I make it, like really trying to be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And by the way, like, what does this guy do again? Like, sort of thing. But I think that put me in good stead going forward, because then as I went into university, I had this skill set and I was just basically using university to learn the theory and learn like the other side of it, like the industry side of it, as opposed to the practical side. But I got a job while I was at university at a local video production company. So I worked throughout in the industry that I wanted to get into as I studied. Which helped me come straight out of university with, 2.5, 3 years experience in the industry. So then going into the travel thing, like I was ready. I knew about like all of the basics of practical filmmaking, like video, sound, how to edit, how to like cut to music, all the things that you kind of learn on the job usually, or learn as you're doing it. I had a basic understanding of even a little bit of animation here and there that I'd had to do as a job. So yeah, I was prepared there, but it was difficult because it wasn't like a cushy environment of an office. It was like a little tiny laptop, a little point and shoot camera, a GoPro, and then doing it and also remembering to to enjoy the travel as well as making content. And it wasn't good content. Like I'll hold my hands up now. Like they're not award-winning videos. Some of them are quite fun, but they're interesting. Maybe, oh, that's a cool thing. But we did one video which actually got taken down. It was quite embarrassing now. I don't feel great about it, but we'd gone to one of the famous shows that people go to in Thailand.
Okay,
without saying too
Say
much.
no more.
And we basically came back to our hostel room, set the camera up, and said, "Right, let's just talk about what we just saw." And it turned into this like really honest 21-year-old kids from like the southeast that hadn't really done that much to like being like, "What the hell did we just see?" Like, and the video it was by far the most watched video of the whole series.
I'm not surprised.
And then I think they were worried about like how it was coming across with the brand. They loved it. The brand loved it, but they're worried about what it says. I think they made it unlisted eventually. But yeah, go back to the question. I had the skill set, so it wasn't too tricky from a practical point of view, but it was like a whole new baptism of fire in like editing on the road. And again, preparing me for what I would eventually go and do more as a job with YouTube vlogging later.